Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Okay, this is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I'm here with... Oh, I had one. Oh, man. Oh, Jackhammer Joel.
Hey guys, what's up? Jackhammer.
Yeah.
I feel like you've done that one before, but
Have
it's probably
I?
been a while. I mean, there's only so many J words in the English language. So.
Okay. All right. I thought I came up with a good, new one, but who knows?
I mean, it sounds like it's something that you've said before, but
okay.
It's all good.
All right. Well,
I'm not sure which episode it would have been. So
yeah, I'll have to go back to the tapes. So, if you want to call me out, let me know that I'm repeating. That's fine.
How dare you?
All right. Actually, you know what? I should have called you Junior Joel. Now that I think about it, because we're going to talk about Orphan First Kill. And she's a little junior girl.
Yeah.
So this is the prequel to the 2009. Was it 2009?
Yeah, 2009.
Okay. Orphan. So this is the prequel 13 years later.
Yeah.
All right, Joel. Who is in it?
All right. So this one stars Isabel Furman, who is Orphan. Or Esther, or Lena, I think is her actual name in the movie.
Yeah.
She is in... I've already done some of the movies that she was in before from Orphan, so these are other ones that I'm probably not going to mention other ones that I've done. But Down a Dark Hall, The Last Thing Mary Saw, and Hellbent. Julia Stiles. She is in the remake of The Omen. She was in the Bourne franchise, the Bourne Identity franchise, 10 episodes of Dexter, and I just had to throw a comedy out there, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty much her, I would say her most famous movie, or what she's most known for, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least how she started.
Yeah, I think that's how she started. She was also in Save the Last Dance, which was a pretty big one for her, too.
Yeah.
In those, 90s, 2000s, romantic comedy type movies.
Yeah.
And then we got Rossif Sutherland. He is the dad. He is Kiefer Sutherland's half-brother.
What? Okay.
Yeah. His dad is Donald Sutherland.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
His first movie was Timeline from 2003. Which I don't remember too much of, but I remember thinking it was kind of dumb back in the day. Dead Before Dawn 3D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Backstabbing for Beginners. So he hasn't had the biggest. He hasn't had the Donald Sutherland type of movie career.
No.
But maybe this will, be a starting point for him.
Yeah.
For future movies. This was written by David Cogshaw. He did the screenplay. He wrote Haunting of Connecticut 2. Not the first one, but the sequel.
Okay.
The sequel to these based on true story movies are always, the best. Desire, which is a TV show back in the mid 2000s. He did 63 episodes. And Prey from 2019, not the one that just came out.
Okay.
But there was one in 2019, same spelling, Prey, that he did. Story by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. I've talked about this guy before. I've talked about him a couple of times because he did The Conjuring 2 and 3 as well. Well, yeah, those are the ones that I would have mentioned him on, and Orphan as well. And he did the story for Red Riding Hood and 13 episodes of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
And we got Alex Mace, who did the story. He's mentioned on here because he basically the characters are by him. Because the only movie that he did was Orphan. So
okay.
So he was that was his one movie that he did. And we got directed by, I've talked about this guy as well, William Brent Bell. It's been a while since I talked about this guy because the movies that he did were The Boy 1 and 2. as well
don't forget, it's called Brahms.
The,
the
Boy,
Boy
and
2.
Brahms, The Boy 2. Yeah. I didn't want to just spell all that out, but yeah, Brahms, The Boy 2. As well as Stay Alive, which I actually enjoyed that one. And The Devil Inside.
All right.
So.
Cool. So, a little synopsis for this one. After orchestrating a brilliant escape from an Estonian psychiatric facility, Esther travels to America by impersonating the missing daughter of a wealthy family. She had a brilliant escape.
A brilliant escape, yes.
I don't know if I'd call it brilliant, but it was pretty cool. It was kind of cool. Little
So Esther didn't.
Beginning. Yeah.
Lena did.
Yeah.
Because their daughter's name was Esther.
Yeah.
So. But that's what we knew her from the first Orphan movie. So
yeah,
I guess that's the name that they just kept with that one. So yeah. So a prequel to a movie from 13 years ago, played by a 12-year-old girl, playing a 33-year-old. Now is a 25-year-old adult playing a. She's 30 in this movie, so 10 or 9.
Yeah,
I think she was 33 in Orphan.
Yeah. So
we're going back 3 more years. So she's, yeah. So it definitely piqued my curiosity when I first heard about this because I was like, how, just how, and why, because they waited quite a long time, for them to redo this, like more than twice her age is how long they waited. She was 12 when they did it, so and they waited 13 years to do a prequel to it. So it's like, all right, well, that's something, I guess.
Yeah, really. I mean, we talked about it a lot in the Orphan episode, but yeah, really random. I don't know who was asking for this prequel. I mean, I know it's kind of gotten a little bit of a following, I guess, the original Orphan. Like, I think most horror fans like that movie. But if you're just like a casual fan and, Orphan, maybe you didn't see it because it wasn't like a big movie.
No,
and then it's like, I just don't know how they're going to get anybody outside of horror fans to go see this movie. Because maybe you saw it back in the day when it came out 13 years ago.
But you watched it once.
But you watched it once and you don't really remember it. And there's not like this big story that you're like, oh, I wonder like what happened with that, So you're like, oh, cool, there's a prequel. Like, there's no real missing information from the original that makes you wonder what happened.
They even talk about the story, which I was hoping that it wasn't going to be the story that they talked about in the first Orphan movie.
Yeah.
Because we didn't need that story to like be shown to us. Because we were told that story.
Yeah.
And
they kind of tell us it, but
yeah,
there's some more to it.
They tell us the kind of abridged version of it.
Yeah.
I guess the Cliff Notes version of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely go deeper into that story in this movie. So let's see if we enjoyed this one.
Yeah. So we'll steer clear of spoilers until the end when because there's a big spoiler that is pretty much the reason to watch this movie, I would say. Other than this, just to see what you think of the way that this movie, the direction it goes. And then me and you can talk about how we feel about that. But I think it's worth seeing, I'll just say that right now, if you like the first film, it's worth seeing this one and then make a judgment on, whether you like the direction it went or not. Because there is something here. And that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping, okay, you guys, you have to have something. It can't just be, okay, Esther's back and killing another family and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be more to it. You have to have a reason for this movie to be made 13 years later. And they did. Whether you enjoy it or not, that's up to you. So.
Yeah. And I hope they don't do this, but there's even room for a prequel before this because she starts out at the psychiatric facility.
Yeah.
So how'd she get there in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like there's some more story to be told.
Let's go. 5-year-old Esther or Lena.
25-year-old, which is
or 25-year-old. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, that's. She did say that she would be up for doing more sequels if the story is right.
Yeah.
So
the writer did say that as well. That hey, there's if it does well, and people want more Esther. So we can talk about maybe
we can do sequels. Like I don't need another prequel to this movie, even though there still is a story to be told there. Like that's the story they should have told, is how she got to the facility.
Because that's what I was wondering, because it's called First Kill.
Yeah,
and I mean, it doesn't seem like First Kill.
No. She seems like she's pretty good at it at this point.
She's not an amateur.
Yeah. And there's more kills in this movie than there was in Orphan. So.
Oh, yeah.
Just in the first 15 minutes, it already exceeds the amount of kills she does in the entire movie of Orphan.
Yeah, that's what I said when we were watching. I was like, wow, this already has more kills than the other one. We've only met like 4 characters and they're all dead.
Yeah.
So that first scene, and you watched this at home or did you watch it in theaters?
I watched it at home.
Okay.
I actually watched it today.
Oh, okay.
This morning.
So I saw this in theaters and there was something, and maybe this is just what it looked like, but it was kind of blurry in that opening part at the psychiatric facility. It was like in the background, it was like blurry, and I was thinking, okay, maybe this is like before when this movie is going to take place, so it's kind of like they're putting some sort of like filter on it so that it it's not like, I don't know, you can differentiate the time. But then it seemed to get better throughout the movie. It was just in that facility where it was definitely blurry at times. So I don't know if that was just my theater and the projector or the way it was projected, or if you noticed that.
I didn't really notice any blurriness to it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I didn't watch it on like a big like theater style screen. Mine's much smaller than that. Still, it's still a fairly decent size, but it's still like. So I don't know if it was there. I just didn't see it. But I didn't really notice any blurriness to it.
Okay. Yeah, it was mainly like the background. It was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
So, this movie was a limited release in theaters. It wasn't even in like 1,000 theaters. I think it was like 500 theaters or something. It wasn't in a lot of theaters. And it made almost, I think it was like 1.5 mil, something like that.
Wow.
So that's did pretty well.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
For only being in limited theaters like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was something like 3,000 per theater it made or something like that. So it had a pretty good run for how limited it was.
Yeah.
For the opening weekend. So anyways, the beginning in the whole facility I thought was pretty cool. The kills were cool. They were pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. It's gonna be more of a slasher, or what are we doing here? But then it kind of dials down throughout the rest of the movie. But those opening kills were pretty cool.
They were, yeah. They definitely were. And I mean, I figured it has to slow down because she's got to be adopted and she can't just go around killing people. she's gotta learn to fit in, which is something that I will talk about in a little bit here.
Okay.
But yeah, the kill scenes in this movie in general, the first Orphan, like they said, there was only 2 people that died. Well, 3, I guess, if you count Esther at the end. But the 2 that she does were very brutal.
Yeah.
In that movie, and I am glad that they continued on with the brutality in this movie.
Yeah.
Because they were pretty much just as brutal.
Yeah.
As they were in the first movie. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I am okay with you guys just keep telling your story. I know where the story's going because I mean there is something that changes it halfway through the movie, the twist. Which we will talk about in our spoiler section. But it's still a prequel. Yeah. So you know how it's going to go. Right. So there's really that's the one thing about prequels that there's really no tension. Is she going to, die in this movie or, whatever. You know what's going to happen. Right. Yeah. Because she has to survive for Orphan for the first movie. For the first one to make sense. Yeah. But it definitely was like a fun journey along the way. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I really enjoyed this movie. Okay. All right.
I enjoyed it too. I have my issues with the twist though, I will say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which we'll talk about. Yeah. Now, what did you think of the way she looked?
So she definitely looked different. I am glad that they did not use CGI to de-age her. Yes. They did use practical, which I do appreciate. Yes. In doing so, though, it does look a little weird. I know that they the rest of the cast wore what was it 4-inch or more shoes.
Yeah, they had huge,
taller.
Yeah,
than her.
They had huge platform shoes. Yeah. I saw a picture of it. They were standing with her, and they're definitely more than 4 inches. They are it's like a foot. It looks like they're huge.
Gotta climb into that.
Yeah, they're so big. I was like, dang, okay.
How do you walk normally in those?
Yeah. There was definitely a lot of camera placement and, trickery to make her look smaller in certain shots. And then at times, I think they did use a kid when they're zoomed out shots and you don't see her face. That has to be a kid. Yeah. When she's running through the hall in the facility.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like the cameras like kind of panned out, and she's just kind of either walking or running through the hall. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we don't see her face, so that could
Mm-hmm.
easily just be a kid with pigtails,
Yeah.
and we're not going to know the difference.
Exactly.
But I like that they did that.
Yeah, I did too. I really appreciated that. There was a comment that I saw in one of our horror groups.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember which one it was, but someone was like, "What everyone think about like how she looked in the movie?" And someone commented on it saying that they took the lazy way and didn't use CGI to DH her. I was like, the lazy way. The lazy way would be to use CGI to DH her. Like, that's like, I don't.
What are you talking about?
In what world is CGI the
maybe the
or
cheaper
practical
way?
The lazy way? Like, I was like, okay, that the statement doesn't make any sense because CGI is always the lazier way of doing stuff.
Yeah, might not be the cheaper way.
No.
Yeah, CGI is not the cheaper way. So they went the cheaper way, which is the better way most of the time. And I can really respect that. And the de-aging like technology has not been really perfected very well. So you can really like tell still with that. And I rather have what they did here.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, because it's interesting. You know, definitely never seen a movie where this is like a factor, you know?
Yeah, so, with the height and everything. Like,
yeah.
I know in like Tom Cruise movies, because he's much shorter than like he appears in movies.
Yeah.
He actually like has to appear taller, when he's just by himself, like when he's just standing still, he'll actually like stand on something to make himself appear taller.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
But never in like a full movie. I don't think he does that like in like throughout his movies and stuff. Yeah. And it's just like to appear so much shorter.
Yeah.
Or have everyone to appear shorter because everyone has to look normal height. To do something like that, it's crazy. I like it, but it's not something that's that's done often. For sure.
And I was looking for it. I was looking like, okay, how are they doing this? Like, and I was noticing like some of the camera work was definitely showing, not just like her top half, rather than how her whole body. Was just showing like the top half of her body, and cameras were angled in certain ways to make her look a little shorter than the other people. But then I guess I didn't know that they were wearing these big platform shoes until I saw the picture. I was like, okay, that makes sense too, because there's definitely shots where they're right next to each other, and it's like, unless she's on her knees, I don't see how this is making sense. And so I was thinking maybe she was just on her knees.
I mean, she could be too. Like that would add to the height differential. For sure. On top of these 12-inch platforms that they're wearing.
Yeah.
She's just on her knees as well.
And so I mean, I really appreciated all of that. I thought it was cool. I thought she did a great job again acting. The creepiness was definitely there for her, especially the first half of the movie, because like kind of her plot, her deal. So it's I felt like kind of knowing who she is kind of made it interesting in a different way, because you're like kind of following, okay, how is she gonna keep this up? And we know what her like motive eventually becomes to get with the father. But seeing that kind of build was kind of interesting. I thought I didn't think I would like it, because I thought, okay, we already know this, so whatever. But the way it was done, we kind of get to see her make mistakes and do things that maybe give her away a little bit, and then the family becomes a little suspicious, and so it was interesting in that way. It
definitely was. They did a good job of, I don't want to say suspending disbelief. It's just they did a good job with just telling a story we already knew was going to happen, but sort of putting a spin on it and making it seem fresh still.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say something now, I can't remember. Yeah, the acting was good all around, really. Julia Stiles, especially the second half, was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that whole character, seeing her in a horror movie was as surprising to me as seeing like Alicia Silverstone in The Lodge. Like it was just like they did a good job in both, but it's like it's not something that they usually do. They're not horror actors.
Yeah.
Although Julia Stiles in The Omen, but you know that's doesn't
count.
I don't think it's. I mean, not really. I don't know. It's been years since I've seen it, but it's basically like.
Well, she plays.
Shot for shot from...
Yeah, in that movie, she plays like a regular mom or whatever.
Yeah.
In this movie, she definitely has a different role.
Yeah,
that,
she does.
You know, at the halfway part, we get to learn about, and it's like, okay, wow, all right,
yeah,
this is different. So I think that's where it like stood out to me. Her acting was like that second half.
Yeah.
So I was impressed with that. I thought, okay, cool. Let's get her in more horror films.
Yeah,
I kind of like it. All right, so you know the other characters were pretty good. Basically, just the well, I don't want to give away much of the story. So basically, this family is missing their daughter for a certain amount of time. And
did it say how many years she was missing?
I think so, but I didn't want to say it. Just, I don't know, it adds kind of to the emotion of it. It's been a long time. We'll say that.
Yeah.
It's not been just like days or something.
No, it's been
Yeah, it's been a long time, and so
it has to have been for them to think that Esther could be their daughter.
Yeah.
They've been missing. She's been missing a week. Oh, here she is.
That's
totally
not
looks
you.
the same, right?
Yeah.
With an accent and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
A Russian accent.
That
was the choice.
That was part of the, I feel like, suspense was, okay, she doesn't really look completely like her. Is the family going to buy this? You know, are they kind of going to figure it out? Because they make comments like, oh, wow, you look so different and you're all grown up and, you know, oh, you have this accent. And, you know, they talk to a psychiatrist about, is this possible? Can she get an accent? And so all that stuff was cool. It wasn't just so straightforward. And so yeah, I liked that. All that stuff.
Yeah, it's also the whole like mentality of we've been missing our daughter for a certain number of years. Here she comes. Yeah, she doesn't look the same, but your mind is going to play tricks on you and be like, well, she's here in front of us. Like, why would anybody lie about something like that?
Right.
So it's like it's your mind at the same time not looking like her, not sounding like her, but who would lie about something like that?
Yeah, why would this be fake?
Yeah.
And so I will give away like this one part where the psychiatrist, she's like talking to the mom and she's like, you know, it seemed like it was like a performance. And I don't know, I'm thinking to myself, like, how could you even be suspicious of that? Like, how would that even come to your mind? Like, oh, she's putting on a performance. Maybe she's not really Esther like she says she is. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think that would be like, and that was like the first session that they had too. I don't think you would jump to that, you know?
No, unless she made it obvious, which I don't think she did in that.
Yeah. No.
In that first session. So yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean,
you're pretty smart.
Yeah.
You're really onto it. And I think that's, I mean, there's comments about how she looks and her accent and stuff. And then there's just some looks. Like, there's, like, kind of, like, confused looks. And then, like, she'll, like, say something, and then the mom will, like, correct her. Like, no, that's not what happened, or, whatever. And it's just these little subtle things. The psychiatrist is the only thing that's, like, blatant. Like, she's, putting on a performance, and, so that's the only thing that really I felt like was, like, out of place in reality, like how someone would actually react. But the other stuff made sense, and it was smart the way that they did that to make it realistic.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. I had the same negative with the first movie. I didn't like the quote unquote brother.
Yeah.
I think he, I don't know. He grew on me in the second half because of what happens.
Yeah.
But I didn't like his character at all from the first moment you see him to like this twist that happens somewhere in the movie. And it's like, okay, well, it makes more sense now that he's like this.
Yeah.
But he's just, I don't know. I think the brother in the first one grew on me after a while too, just in a different way. But yeah, I was just like, I didn't really like this guy at all. Like, okay.
He was like whatever to me as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you have anything else to add to this part of the review?
Not really. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and grade it, and then we'll get into the twist.
All right. So yeah, overall, especially for being a prequel to a movie from 13 years ago, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and something that I definitely would watch at some point in the future again. So okay. I think I'm going to give this one, I don't remember what I gave Orphan. It's been a couple of weeks now since
I think you gave it in the high 80s, I want to say.
Okay, yeah, I think I probably did. I'm going to give this one an 83.
All right.
Nice. Not as good, but it's still a good.
Yeah.
For a prequel / sequel or whatever, it was pretty good. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going 80. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, I'd watch it again. It was. I didn't really know what to expect. But I think this is about as good as it could have been.
Yeah. For sure.
For what it was. You know,
the fact that we got a twist, I wasn't expecting at all.
Yeah. The twist was very unexpected, for sure.
Yeah. So I thought it was just being a straightforward prequel to.
Yeah.
It wasn't straightforward. I can tell you that.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, I enjoyed that part of it. So.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the twist and some spoilers.
Spoiler section, everyone.
I added in a little, sound effect to
nice.
one of our episodes of one of the last ones I posted where we talked about spoilers.
Orphan? Because I think there was a spoiler in that. Or did we just talk through that spoiler?
I think we just talked through that because it was an older movie.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
I think it was Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like... Pew, pew, pew. So, I'll add that in here as well. So, here you go.
Nice.
All right. So, the twist. I'm going to go ahead and say it. So, Esther's there, Lena, and the whole time... there's this cop who's kind of, for whatever reason, suspicious of Esther. And that, too, didn't make much sense to me. Why he would be suspicious of this, right away. But I think he's been kind of wondering about the mom and the brother and their involvement in their daughter's sister's disappearance.
Yeah.
So he's still kind of invested a little bit. And so he's kind of figuring out that Esther is not Esther. And she finds out that he's kind of onto her. And so she goes to kill him. She just goes to his house and kills him.
As one does.
And
to a cop of all people. Like,
yeah.
Probably not the smartest thing to do, but okay.
And when she's like about to kill him, what's the wording that she uses? Something like, I can't let my mom know, or I can't let so and so know. And then he's like, oh, she already knows. And then she's like right there and shoots him in the head.
Yeah, no, she stabs him a couple of times at this point and goes, how did you figure it out? My mom doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, actually, she does.
Yeah.
And that's when she steps into frame.
Yeah.
And shoots him like 4 times. Like, all right, once was enough, but okay, let's
just keep it going.
Going a little overkill there. That's what this should have been called, Orphan Overkill.
So then we learned that Esther was actually killed by the brother. It sounds like it was an accident, I think, or maybe a purposeful killing.
I don't know if it was just to intimidate her, but he does say at one point that he murdered her.
Yeah, he does say
to
that.
her, but I don't know if it was to intimidate or if that's actually what happened.
Yeah,
I don't think that they go into what happened with that.
No, they don't.
Which kind of I like, and at the same time, I kind of wish they had said it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, me too.
I like the mystery of not really knowing, but at the same time, we're not gonna talk about this in another sequel, so let's just get it all out in this movie.
Well, especially if he purposefully murdered her. Yeah. Then it's like, okay, I want to know that because that'll add to the character.
Yeah.
If it's just an accident, then it's like, okay. That's.
But based on their attitude after this, I don't know. I don't think it's an accident.
Yeah, the reason why I say that it could have been is Julia Stiles says oh, you guys were always roughhousing, and so she says it like it was an accident. So, but then the way that they act and stuff is like, okay, you guys are just kind of ruthless, and so maybe this wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
So but the father is in a bad depression.
Yeah.
And he's just so distraught, and their marriage is just non-existent. And so when and he doesn't know, he thinks that that Esther's just missing because they cover it up. The mother and son. He doesn't know. So when they get a call that Esther's back, he's super stoked, and he kind of turns his life around because his daughter is back. And so she's like, I can't, the mother, Julia Stiles, is like, I can't say that this isn't her because then it would look weird. Why would someone make this up? But then she knows that, yes, this girl is an imposter.
Yeah.
So it's a really weird situation. And we find out, it's revealed about halfway through the movie that the mother and the son know that she is a fake.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, well, you gotta keep playing along. Let's just keep playing along in this game.
What's funny about that whole twist is when Esther, quote unquote Esther, is found after so many years, Julia Stiles doesn't seem as excited to see her as you'd think a parent would be about their daughter that went missing for years at a time. So I like that they had that twist, because otherwise it just seems like poor acting.
Yeah. Yeah.
On her part. But they had a plan the entire time. Like, this is, they have that attitude. It's same with the brother as well. Like, he doesn't really seem to care at all that she's back. So it totally makes sense, and I like that it wasn't just an acting choice.
Right.
To act that way. But it was just like, wait, what? You're not Esther. Like, what are you doing?
You know what would have been smart, now that I'm thinking about this, is Julia Stiles should have just let Esther kill him. And never said anything about anything, and then put her in prison for killing a cop. Like, you don't have to spill the beans to her, and you don't have to be the one to kill the cop. Esther was doing it right then. So
we needed that twist. The movie would have been over at an hour long.
Well, what could have happened is, then the rest of the movie could have been about Esther, still trying to come up with her plot to, get with the father, while Julia Stiles is like kind of building a case or trying to, convince the dad that Esther did this and all that. And then at the end is when, at the very, very end, when she's like locked up or something, is when we learn about the twist.
We could have a sequel to the prequel right there. Because based on the story that we know from the first one, that family dies. So something's got to happen. So they gotta make another movie and tell that story.
Yeah.
But that definitely would have changed the movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
if they went that way. But
so I think the twist was cool because it was unexpected, and I like twists when they're unexpected.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with it is this made Julia Stiles and the brother to be like they were the scary ones.
Worse than Esther.
Yeah, it made Esther weak. It made, like, up until this point, Esther was the horror character. She was the killer. She was the creepy one. Yeah. And then she kind of lost that the second half of the movie, and it was more about, like, is Esther gonna... Like, how is Esther gonna survive? Like, you're almost rooting for Esther.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to root for her.
It's kind of like that Don't Breathe 2 kind of thing, where the first one, the blind guy is like, obviously, he's a bad person.
Yeah.
But then they make him out to be like the hero in the second movie.
Yeah.
They did that for this one, but I feel like they did it better. They did it so that, things like this can happen. These accidental deaths or of a loved one, or daughter, sister, whatever, that it can happen. Cover-ups happen. Yeah. She just happened to be in the family of one that's in the middle of doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They do make them out to be more evil than her.
Yeah.
I was like, towards the end, I was like, I want Esther to kill this woman. Like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
Making her feel very intimidated, like the brother, with that whole thing that he was saying, like, he doesn't what was it, like, basically when he was saying that he murdered his sister when they were by themselves, and he was like, my mother doesn't want Esther to disappear again, but I don't care. Like, it's just like he's, and so it made him actually like more of an evil person than the mom in that moment. Like, it's like, all right, so they do get what's coming to them at the end of the movie,
which we knew was going to happen.
Yeah, we did. Still pretty brutal, especially what happened to the brother.
Yeah.
But it's like, they kind of made her out to be kind of like a sympathetic character,
Right.
but at the same time she's not.
Right.
So like that she's not. She she willingly went to this. She went full aware that she's going to be causing this, family some issues.
Yeah.
In the beginning. She had no idea that Esther was actually dead and that they killed her. She was just like trying to, she had her own agenda going on. So the fact that they made her a sympathetic character, but also like what her what she was after ultimately kind of makes it seem like, there's really no good characters in this movie, like at all.
Yeah, I guess the dad.
Well, the dad he's the unaware one that but even he ends up dying at the end. It's like everybody dies except for Esther. She does live, but then she ends up dying later. So I didn't have a problem with the whole sympathy angle. I think it actually kind of added to me more to the story, because after we know the twist in the first movie, she's this like evil, sadistic person. Yeah. We go into this movie knowing that she's that character, especially in that opening scene. Like, there's no doubt. If you hadn't seen Orphan, then you'll know from that opening scene that she's not a very good person. Yeah. So it kind of, I don't know, to me it added a layer of it, that there's more evil people in this movie than just her. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely added to the story. It was unexpected. I just didn't want other characters to be scarier than Esther. Like I was not expecting that, and I just don't know if I like that, So, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's the big twist on this one. I was also kind of hoping like that Julia Stiles would like live somehow, and
that was a long fall. So.
Yeah. I was like hoping she would somehow live, and that's what would be kind of the cliffhanger. Like, she's still alive. Like, is she gonna be out to get Esther, and maybe Esther lived through Orphan? Yeah, and that's how they can do a sequel. But
what I was hoping was going to happen at the end there, when they're both dangling from like the roof. Yeah. I was hoping that they're gonna put the decision on the dad who was gonna live. Yeah. Like, because they're both dangling there, right. But it wouldn't make sense to, well, it might have made sense if he just chose Esther, because he has no idea about his wife and son. And
she's a little kid.
Yeah. So he probably would have chosen her. And then it would have, instead of she just loses her footing and falls. Yeah. It would have been more punch in the gut if he had chosen her, and then the ending still happened the way that it did. Like, she ends up pushing him off. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, that would have been, it would have been a cooler way of ending that story there. But
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it felt like that's what they were setting it up for.
Yeah, it's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
But nope, she just falls. And, oh, okay. Cool.
Another thing that I don't like, and this was in Firestarter as well, in the new one, the CGI Fire. It looks pretty bad. I'm just like, okay, you can tell that that's so fake. And I'm just put a real fire in there. Come on.
just actually burn down a set. Come on,
just
exactly.
Actually set it on fire. Come on.
Which goes into
one take.
Yeah, which goes into why it's a good thing they didn't de-age her. Yeah, because if they didn't have the budget to actually use real fire, they use CGI, and you can imagine the de-aged Esther probably wouldn't have looked very good.
No.
For the entire movie.
She kind of reminded me at times like I was laughing when it would like show her and how little she was, because you know that it's an adult.
Yeah. She's like 25, 26
yeah.
years old.
And it kind of reminded me of like Chucky. Like, this like adult evil person in this little body. Like, when she's like running around and when she's like driving the car and stuff, like I was like, I'm laughing. Yeah. Like, this is like,
how are you looking over the wheel right now? Like, how are you driving?
Yeah. So I did and kind of laugh at times just because it was kind of funny to think about.
Yeah. I think I did too, especially at that driving scene.
Yeah.
When she steals the car. Like, okay. Need a couple yellow pages to sit on to look over that
yellow pages.
Yeah.
And then you got to reach the pedals.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
You got to get those platform shoes.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, it was a good one. I kind of wish that she had tried to stick in a little bit more than she did, because even from like the not maybe not the first moment she is quote unquote found by the family, but like her character starts coming out pretty early on, and it's like, is this really how their daughter would have acted?
Yeah,
I don't know.
This was her first time.
But, like,
she didn't know how to do this. Yeah, and that's what I mean. They showed like her, mess up and make mistakes with trying to be this little girl. So, I thought that was pretty good and smart for them to put that in. Yeah. All right, you ready to end this?
I think so.
Okay. Well, go find us on the Facebook, on the Instagram and Twitter and Truth Social, and on Slasher. The horror app, social media. Yeah. We're on there. We got a lot of friend requests already. Just jumped on yesterday or the day before. So you can find us on there. We're on YouTube as well.
Yep. And TikTok.
And we're on TikTok. That's right. We got a few.
TikTok. We've got a couple of couple TikToks up there.
Yeah. So go check those out. They're amazing. So subscribe, make some comments, and give us some likes and all that good stuff. And look out for a bunch more content coming out over the next couple of months. A lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of movies to review.
We're officially in horror season, so September through like end of October, basically. Yeah. Lots of November and December probably too. There's some, but the majority is September through October. So there's going to be quite a few things coming out.
Yep. So look out for those, especially. We're going to be doing some older ones, like a few, but most of them will be newer movies. So look out for those. And that's it. This has been our episode for Orphan First Kill. This has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let Julia Stiles bite.